Tonight's video focuses on how to build trust in teams with a couple of just simple activities that I bet you can just take away and implement with your teams. It's kind of fun when we think about trust. It engenders a lot of images for us. I was talking with a friend recently who is in an IT industry, and he was kind of teasing that sometimes these shine like a North Star events are touchy-feely. And in the IT world, you just sort of tell people how it is in his experience working in different companies. So I want to bridge some of that as we talk about trust and translate some of how we see trust and whether or not it's a touchy-feely thing or a get stuff done. At the end of the day, trust is where you can rely on people so that you know what you're going to get consistently from them over time. So think of it as a mathematical equation. Trust equals consistency over time. So whether you're in a real nurturing environment that spends tons of time on relationships and perhaps avoids conflict, or whether you're a company that embraces conflict and just kind of says things like it is, either way you need consistency in order to build trust. So there's a few different ways that you can do that kind of thing. Some of the strategies today are first off, talking about some of the touchy-feely side of things. So you get mileage together in order to build consistency and have some of those experiences. So we don't see each other's consistency without having what I call mileage together. And so that's having shared experiences, working on projects together, collaborating. I do my piece, I see it connects with your piece, we're able to move on. Whatever the mileage looks like in your environment. And so there's a few different ways of doing that. If you're the more nurturing side, part of that trust can really be built by having mileage in getting to know each other. So some real high level, simple activities are icebreaker types of things at the beginning of meetings. It's fun. I was entering a Zoom meeting recently, and there were probably 20 people on. Now, normally, these 20 people would be meeting together pre-COVID. They'd huddle, there would be all this chit chat, and I got on maybe 3 minutes early, and it is stone silent. And I couldn't help, being the extroverted person I am, and certainly the cultural engineer, teasing people saying like, hey, pre-COVID, we would have been chatting about stuff all the time. And so I instantly started looking at all the images on the screens, which is an activity you can do, and start cold calling people on, tell me a little bit about that, certificate behind you. Where'd you get that from? What's this painting about? Who's got a dog they can show us today? That kind of interactivity gives people a chance to show up consistently in how they interact with the group. So one of the strategies is to just start talking with people about their environment if you're on the screen. Another one, if you're in person or on the screen, asking people what sort of things they have in their wallet that reminds them of good times. So for example, in my wallet, I have my Dominican, which is a Caribbean country, I have my Dominican driver's license. It's a ridiculous thing to carry around in my wallet, right? It means nothing, but it reminds me of a really cool couple of years I spent living in the Caribbean. I remember one colleague I had years ago, he had stubs from every concert that he'd ever been in. I'm sure that he actually had like low back problems because his left hip with his wallet was so thick and elevated because of all of these concert stubs in his back pocket. We all carry around something that gives us that little bit of rejuvenation. It's amazing how you'll learn about people and sort of see them in a little bit of a different light or get to know them a titch more if you ask some of these questions. Another one that I've been playing around with recently, and again, these are just activities that take a couple of minutes that build some sort of mileage together, and out of that mileage can then come the consistency, right? So this activity is asking people about something that they have hanging up on a wall or a piece of furniture, something in their house that is significant to them. I've got a calendar from my great-grandparents' general store from 1928. It's pretty cool. Someone in a meeting the other day talked about having a chair in their house from their dad who had passed away. And instantly these little memories start giving you a sense of like, oh, I didn't know that person lost their father when they were younger. Oh, I didn't know, wow, your grandparents have a general store, Carrie? Where from? So it gives this opportunity to make even more mileage as you do this icebreaker stuff. So that's some tools that you can use for the more relational companies. Looking more at kind of the direct approach, lean into it, highly operationalized sorts of companies. That's where you can really put words on what people are doing that you really value, that builds trust with them. So let's say that somebody meets a deadline that was really ambitious, and their meeting the deadline means that your part of the project could be done on time also. Now, we would normally say, like, thanks for getting that done on time, or thanks for getting that to me. What can really build trust in these more operational instances is to solidify why you're thanking them. So not just thanks for getting it to me, that helps me do my part in the project. Explain the why. Someone else might cover a shift for you. Thanks for taking on that extra shift. It really balances the patient load in our unit, right? Thanks for taking on the shift. It really helps protect our burnout of employees, which matters the most to us, right? So you want to think through what you're thanking them for. And the real magic and that opportunity to build trust is to explain to people the why of what they're doing. So maybe somebody took the hit by filling up the company car with gas, right? So that it was ready for the next person. Thanks for grabbing gas, even though it's a winter storm, which is what we're experiencing right now. Thanks for getting gas on such a cold day. Really makes it pleasant for the next person when they're probably going to be held up with bad roads tomorrow, right? Explain the why, and that will help reinforce those behaviors that you want to see in each other that show up consistently in what you really want to get from your colleagues. So trust equals consistency over time. We don't really see that consistency unless we have mileage together. So as a leader or a colleague, your job is to just figure out ways to get that mileage together. In a more operational minded company, it can be around you did this work, and the mileage comes in by sharing why that work was so significant. In a more relational minded organization, it's really creating that space for getting to know each other more and having some of that connectivity. All right, those are some tools for you tonight on Shine Like a North Star. My name is Carrie Burchell. I'm the president of North Star Coaching and the lucky owner. And our focus is really on helping you shine your best. If you know anything about North Stars, they're not consistently the same brightness, but they are consistently bright. My role is to help you be your brightest. So I hope these tools are helpful. Please send me a message through YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever other way you want to catch me on my website page. I'd love to hear some suggestions from you on other things that we can do. And until then, have a wonderful night.